Hey there, my name is Karen Bates, and I am really excited to talk to you today about how to make goals that are good and that you can and will reach, even if you are inconsistent, like I am, so that you can stop living life in this, constant mental clutter where you're moving from thing to thing that you've got to do and never catching up and always feeling behind, to a life that enlivens you each day in your heart, in your mind, spirit, so that you feel joy in the present moment and are able to feel the love that you can feel as you're surrounded by the people that you love. And so I have a little slideshow that will help us kind of see this visually as I talk about it. So I'm going to pull that up. Okay, so we talked about this and how you start living your life in this way. And it also amplifies your influence for good when you can live this way. Learning to make the best goals for you and to adjust them as you progress and then move toward them daily is really important, because as you're living this enlivening style, it helps you notice the things you're doing or worrying about that aren't all that important, and to start to notice what actually matters to you and why it matters to you. And then you live according to those things that you're learning. And so in order to be able to do this, we have to get rid of some of the false beliefs and paradigms that we grew up with. Most of us grew up in an educational system and culture that measures success by what you get done according to the people's expectations around you. And that can lead you to feeling pretty burnt out and overwhelmed. And if you start to live life in a way that you understand why you do the things you do, even if they're different than the people around you, and they're personalized to your family and to your circumstances, then you start to measure success by your current way of being with the people around you instead of by what you're getting done and doing all the things, right? In order to do this, we need to be willing to let go of some of our current beliefs and stories and replace them with beliefs and stories that are true. So that's what I'm going to help you start doing right now. This is the first of a series of videos that's going to kind of take us through this process. And I'll kind of explain to you how it goes. But I really believe that experience is the only way we really learn. So some people say it's the best way to learn, or it's one way to learn. But I think that even if we have a lot of facts memorized in our brains and we can regurgitate them, if we haven't actually taken those facts and put them into a meaningful, understood how they teach us meaningful principles and then put those into action, then they haven't entered our heart and they haven't become part of who we are. So we don't really know them. They haven't become part of us, and that's not real knowledge. That's just superficial knowledge. And so I like to teach these principles and these steps in a way that takes you through an experience. And I call it the warrior journey. It's a figurative journey that we take together. And we have different challenges as we go through this journey that give us these symbolic emblems that help us start to see what we're actually acquiring in our journey. We acquire certain mind shifts, skill sets, and habits that help us earn these emblems as we go. So today we're going to start with the first challenge, and this is step one of that challenge. In order to start your journey to this more joyful and present lifestyle, you and I need to know where you are right now. So I'm going to ask you to make one goal in 6 different areas of life. And I know that's kind of overwhelming, but it's supposed to be. So I call these different areas the fortification areas in your journey. So you stop at each one and you learn about each one. And right now we're just going to kind of superficially scratch the surface so that we can get a vision of where we're at right now, even if we're not really going to be to the point where we can actually accomplish all of these goals, at least not yet. But we will get there through our journey. So as you progress, you will learn to actually reach each of these goals and will know how to adjust them to what you more accurately need. A lot of times as we move forward on our journey, it's kind of like climbing a mountain, and we think we need to reach a certain spot. But when we get there, we look around and notice that there's more, and that we see more clearly where we actually need to go, and that's good, and that's what we plan to do. But for now, we just need to be moving towards them in the best way we know how. And that way we can see the next step more clearly, like I said. So I have a little acronym that's going to help us remember what these fortification areas are. And it's RISE UP. So it stands for relationships and family, your identity or your spiritual goals, your goals about your skills and talents, goals about your environment and your home, your goals about your understanding and your mind, and then your physical goals or your health goals. and I put like what emblem you earn with each one. You'll notice the relationship family one doesn't have an emblem next to it. That's because we practice each of these within our relationships and family, so it kind of is ingrained into all of them. And so as we go, you'll start to strengthen your family in your home through the practice of these different skill sets, mindsets, and habits. So right now, I want you to pause this video and write one goal for each of these areas. Just kind of prayerfully decide, if you're a praying person, what you probably need to work on most in each of these areas, and just write it down. So I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, so now that you've written those goals, step 2 is there are 2 other fortification areas that I didn't have in those, but that's because they're the foundational ones. You have to have these before you even started any of the others. And if you're going to be doing the program with me, I focus on one every 8 weeks. And so you can jump in at any time as long as you have these basic 2 fortification areas. And so through these video trainings that I'm doing, we're going to go through the compass emblem. And we're going to put them on the Facebook group so that everyone can kind of share what they're learning in these areas. It's going to be a 10-week one challenge a week, and then we'll share, we'll encourage each other, and learn as we go. So the 2 foundational fortification areas that we strengthen first are your time or direction, which is the compass emblem, which is the one we're going to be working on here, and then your vision or map, which is the next one. So right now, to start with the compass, you get to go through your list of the Rise Up goals you just wrote, and I want you to choose one action in each of those areas that you can do each day. So it's like a little action that will help you reach your goal eventually in that area. Now, if it's feeling overwhelming, that's good, and I'm going to tell you about why that is in a minute. But for now, you're going to pause this video for a second, and again, take each one of the goals you wrote, write a daily action, and then something you're going to sacrifice. And that's why this is the time fortification, because all of these things will require us to sacrifice something else that we're using our time on for something better. And sacrifice is a principle of power. And I'll talk more about that in other videos about why that is. But for now, just realize that when you choose to sacrifice something else you're doing for something better, you'll be blessed with power and you'll see really great things happen. So I want you to write down your daily action and the sacrifice that you're going to make in order to be able to put that into your life, right? All of us have already a lot on our plate. So we have to also not just make new goals, but realize like that's going to make us have to replace something else that we're already doing, and that's a good thing. So go ahead and pause it and write down an action plan and time sacrifice for each goal. Okay, now that you've done that, like I was saying, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, that's a good thing. It's okay if you're unsure, if you can focus on so many goals at once, right? You probably tried focusing on one of them and it just proves to be too much. So I decided to write down 6, and you're probably thinking like, okay, this is feeling a little bit much. And that's okay. No one expects you to do all 6 of them every day perfectly. And so I want you to be prepared to fail, but that's all right, because as you fail, you make mistakes, you learn. And as you do your best in your practice, you'll be moving forward. You won't be standing still. You realize, like, I'm going to move forward and try and make mistakes and try again. And you'll also be practicing being gentle with yourself and being forgiving with yourself, because we're going to eventually spend 8 weeks in each of these areas so that you can perfect them and refine them. But right now, we just got to have kind of a vision of where we're moving towards as with what we know right now. So our goals will change and will be refined, as well as our ability to do them. But we always got to live each day realizing that we're going to do our best with what we currently know. And it's not a lot, and we are weak and we are flawed, but we can move forward with that knowledge and see where it takes us. And then we learn a little and we try again the next day. So, like I said, right now the important thing is that you have an action plan. It's supposed to be hard. As you progress, your goals will be refined and perfected. Right now you're simply practicing. The other really cool thing is that as you practice and you fail and make mistakes, you start to become more humble. And that is really good because it increases your willingness to learn and to reach for help, especially if you're a person that believes in God. Then you can turn to Him more readily and be more humble to receive His help with your weaknesses. And that is a really good thing. So be willing to fail, because that's how you become humble and how you really increase your power. And then the last thing I want you to do for this first challenge is to share it here in our group. Write down in the comments what your action plan is, what your Rise Up goals are, and we'll encourage one another. I'm really proud of you for being in this video and for doing the things I asked you to do, because that getting started, as you're going to see in this week's readings, is a huge leap of faith. And a lot of times it's a lot easier to just stay in our comfort zones and live life with what we know. It's just constantly busy, we're going from task to task and not really choosing to change. But when you've decided that I'm going to take that leap of faith and live life in a higher way, then things start to happen that are incredible and amazing and adventurous. But if we don't make that leap, we just kind of get stuck. And so I'm really proud of you, because being here, writing these things down is the first step. You've made that leap, you're getting started. And as we encourage and share it in this community, you are now in a community of people who are excited to do this with you, who will understand that what it's like to fall and to make mistakes and to not reach your goals, and what it's like to get up and try again. And so we'll always be proud of you for trying again. And I hope you feel safe here, and I hope you all want to encourage one another as we go through this journey together. So, last thing, write your Rise Up goals and action plans in the comments below. So I hope this has been helpful. Again, this is just to get us started, but there's going to be some neat units and activities we're going to do, and challenges, one challenge a week, that will help you. I'm going to have just short little readings that you can also do that help you understand these principles in your own life, and then the life each week we'll kind of have a little leader focus of one person, and I'll give you like a little short story to read, or like a little children's book that I'll read to you or something, so you can start seeing these principles in action in the lives of other people and how they really work, and you can start picking them out and find patterns and things that you can do to also become a leader and to discover your own unique gifts and talents so that you can bless the world and your family with them. So that's exciting, and I'm excited to get to know you and to work with you through this journey. And see you soon.